got two problems. You got the Adobe platform software, which they talked about, had computers and libraries, and they said that they're already working on that, which is, I think, where Overdrive got carried away with Kansas. The other one is that the apps are all licensed through Apple. And Apple, starting July 1st, is going to start charging and telling them that they have to have an in-app, as well as them design it so that they can't route around the Apple apps, which is what they were doing when trying to buy things differently. So basically, Apple's going to get 35 cents for the kind of app was used, because this was in the design module.
Is that for use or for purchase, though? I mean, these aren't
anybody
purchases.
who has an app. Every time you use it, someone who is footing the bill of you using the app to get to something will be paying. So it may affect the price of if you're going, when you're purchasing anything. So the store that you're going to, it's like
Right, for purchases, yeah, I can see that.
But it's going to reflect on the licensing stuff too, because they use that if they're using apps to have to do that. It's going to be torture.
As far as the e-readers, your public schools, are they going toward that? Ours in Clinton is.
No, I don't think our school is doing anything with e-readers.
There's a big buzz on the list about it. I mean,
Yes.
there's lots of conversation about who's doing
The
what.
Celebrate Career List is, they're allowing kids to use that.
There are a lot of little minor Kindles and so forth, and they may get in trouble with copyright, but it'll be interesting.
Can I ask Bill to help me think through a situation? Because this, you have to have a computer thing, is just thrown our into it. We just got a grant to buy, we wrote it to buy 10 e-readers to put in the hands of elected junior high readers. And if they will take care of it and read a certain number of books and, you know, visit with us and do a little exit interview and whatnot, then at the end of whatever time period, they can keep the e-reader. And then local businesses will, you know, give us some more money to buy some e-readers that we can then keep them circulating for other people. So part of the grant was to buy the e-readers, part of the grant is to buy the books, which we were thinking maybe put some of that towards Overdrive to do. But if the kids that I have in mind are in a remote area, don't have internet access at home, don't have a computer at home, if I can't load those books on a library computer to then put on the e-reader to give to them.
Do you have enough money to buy the iPads?
That would be a better option.
It would be a better route to go. Because that's what I'm thinking. At home, when I want a book, I use my Kindle app, the book is there. I don't have to go through all this.
They can, even though they wouldn't, if they don't have wireless at home, they can load it up at the library. Do you have wireless at your library? Yeah. And then take it home and still be able to read it.
Even the nooks, you know, now they have Wi-Fi, so if they can get to a hotspot, that was going to be the added bonus for these kids that don't have internet access or anything at home. Looking out, they got it, but
That device requires not
Right.
well, the grant will buy the e-readers for them to use.
And you're
But how am I going to put the books on the device for them?
You could do that as long as the e-readers belonged to you, because you could actually register them with one of your library computers.
Yeah.
And create Adobe ID. Say you have 10 e-readers.
Right.
You could get 2 library computers, and you could create Adobe IDs for both of those computers, and then do 5 of the devices on each of those computers.
That's what we do.
So
Yeah,
if
so
they
you would have
do
to, right, so
the
you would
same
have
book
to,
on 5
Yeah.
devices.
Yes.
yes.
If they wanted to read all 5 kids on
Right.
one same book.
But those books we actually bought from Barnes and Noble or from Amazon. We did not download Overdrive books on those because Overdrive books only last, at our library, they only last for 2 weeks.
But once you
And
buy
you
Barnes
could-
and Noble, it's online.
Right, so you're talking, you can buy one copy for each computer, and then you can put it, but you can also put a nook, you can put a nook book on up to 5 devices too, so that would work.
Or Google Books. You can buy Google Books and put them on notes as well.
You can also find a lot of freebies. I mean, watching Gutenberg.
The Gutenberg stuff will go for free. It's not very pretty, but
Right. The overdrive would also be an issue because if you only had one book, one use, then you would only be able to put it on one device.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. Well, if you checked it out to a library, you could create a library card account for that computer, and then you can do it, and you could put it on 5 devices that way. Because once it's in Adobe Digital Edition, even though you can only check it out one time, you can put it on 5 devices, and you've got 5 devices connected to that Adobe ID, because you can download ebooks like 30 times. So, or there's
How much?
Yeah, once you get it on.
If I was you, if I were in your position, I would buy the notes or an iPad. Just load it up with books purchased from Barnes and Noble, whatever that you want them to read, and then just send it on with them. They don't have to access any kind of internet. They've just got it there. They just plug it up and charge it.
But that's kind of how we envisioned it.
Yeah.
So then they have it to keep in that series, but then they've got the device for when we have overdrive, and they want to cut back and use more of our books.
Yeah.
But until they have a computer at home.
and internet access. It's not going to be.
And it has to be high speed too.
Yeah.
It doesn't work very well with
Audiobooks
that.
especially, don't even think about trying to download an audiobook on dial-up.
Yeah.
Ebooks, you can do it, it just takes a while.
Well, the audiobooks, I was surprised to find out, it's like a chapter, and they're very unabridged. They're like the library for the blind ones, but you only get one chapter at a time, or is that still true?
No, they
It used
get
to be.
it. They download it in parts,
Yeah. Okay.
and one part is equal to the amount that you can actually put on an audio CD if it's burnable. So it's basically about 70 to 80 minutes of listening time. And so that way it helps you actually, if you have slower speed, connection speed, then you can download maybe 1 or 2 parts at a time, listen to it, then go back and listen to some.
But they're not burnable, are they?
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
Yes, and each part is equal to 1 CD. So what I usually tell people, if you want to burn them and you're not going to, necessarily, you're not traveling somewhere, so you don't want to burn 14 discs, use the read-writable disc. So then you can burn it, erase it, burn the next part, erase it.
And also, if you put it on an MP3 player, it never goes away.
That's true.
Yes, but we don't actually tell people that
Yeah.
because
But you'll figure it out.
yeah.
Don't-
People will figure it out, and someone has said, "Isn't that possible?" And I said, "I'm not going to tell you. You can do that. Take that how you will."
That's
But it is a collection,
I know, but it's.
in terms of your collection, are you reading them the way you read, or?
Not yet, because we haven't been doing this long enough.
Okay.
Okay. I heard y'all say something about you could check it out 30 times. Is there a limit to how many times a book can be checked out once you've purchased it?
Yeah. Well, it's down, the 30
download.
download limit, which means if you have it checked out and you have 30 attempts, maybe your computer crashed out in the middle of what you're doing, and you lose your connection or whatever, so it messes up, you can go back and try to download it later. Audiobooks you can only download 3 times.
Okay.
And then it has to be reactivated, and we can do that. It's not something we have to go to Overdrive to do. We can actually do that.
All right, just a housekeeping sort of thing. With everyone talking at the same time, it's very hard to hear what's going on. So please, before you speak, raise your hand, wait to be acknowledged by the panel, and then one question at a time, and then their answer, and side conversations to a minimum, please.
And in the panel, I'm talking over each other.
Speak one at a time, like how we
Yes.
We use Ingram at the Garland County Library for our audiobooks. And the way they have theirs set up is it will delete off your computer after the allotted period of time. And then whenever you go to sync back up, it gets erased off your device. Were you saying that that was different for Overdrive? Or?
For MP3 files, they don't go off your device.
Okay.
If I put one on my iPod, it's there until I choose to take it off. Now, that doesn't mean that it's right, but it's a glitch. It's
Okay.
not a glitch that I handled. It's not something we did. Now, when we were in Net Library, as soon as you plugged up to Net Library, it would update and take it off your device.
That's how Ingram works.
It's not doing that.
Overdrive is very much aware of this. I've had a discussion with the people about it on the audiobooks, and they don't care.
Unless you use Media Console on your iPhone or your iTouch or whatever you have, if you upload it directly to your device, then it will disappear.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you transfer it, it will not.
And if you have an ebook that you have transferred to a Nook, or whatever, at the end of the 14-day period, it becomes unusable. It's still there,
Yeah.
but you can't access it.
Yeah, as long as the encryption pathway is still there. But I talked to them way back about audiobooks, about the CDs not having to be returned and all this other stuff, and Overdrive doesn't think.
Yeah, they put it, I mean, it's at the bottom of every record, it says you are required to destroy.
Right.
But, you know, the copyright police haven't shown up yet. I mean, they might eventually, but they haven't yet.
The other thing is with the Adobe, with the ebook, the EPUB, you actually can turn it back in when you're done with it. So you get 2 weeks at our consortium on an ebook, but if it's something really hot, you just buzz right through it and you're done with it in 4 days, you can turn it back in, because our consortium, we are only allowed to check out 3 items at a time. And so if you want to, you can pull something, look at it, decide you don't want it, turn it back in. Look at something else, decide you don't want it, turn it back in. With an audio book, you're stuck with it for 2 weeks. You don't like it, too bad.
I know a lot of academic libraries, that's the way it was. When you checked it out, you turned it back in so that somebody else could get it. So.
But you can do that, but only with the EPUBs that go through Adobe Digital.
Right, if you download an EPUB directly, say to an iPad or whatever, that option is not there. So if you check it out, and we have, you can choose either 7 days or 14 days for all of our titles, and that option is not there on the iPad Overdrive Media Console app. It's the default 14 days. You can't change it.
A couple questions. Do you have your CERC numbers, maybe offhand, that you could share with me for the numbers that circulate maybe monthly or yearly? And I know, Ashley, you don't have that yet. And the other thing is, as I'm thinking, sitting here, and we obviously haven't gone to Overdrive because of these concerns I have of mine, I'm almost wondering, and I am not current on the legalities of this, but have some libraries just bought Kindles and then they buy the titles and then they just circulate the Kindles? I mean, is that one option that some of the libraries are doing, or the notes? I mean, it'd be just like buying a hard copy, but that's a lot of electronics going out the door too. So.
A lot of libraries are doing that, but there is a lot of question as to whether that is in violation of their terms of service. Because they're expecting one person to buy a Kindle and one person to buy the Kindle books, and that person has those books and is not sharing unless it's a Kindle lending option.
Amazon told school libraries in Arkansas, a couple of them, that they have, if they're circulating Kindles, they have to buy one title per student to make sure. They're still trying to do first sale rights with this if they're buying outside of the license, I guess. So, but the copyrights are being paid.